Good morning, everybody, and I would like to thank the Honourable Member for Wirral West for introducing today's debate in a constructive, positive and very interesting way, and it is a pleasure to serve Dame Davies under your chairship this morning. As the Minister for Disabled People, Health and Work, it is an honour early on in my tenure to talk about the government's commitment to enabling people with musculoskeletal or MSK conditions to start, stay and importantly succeed in work, which is what today's debate is about. And it was an honour to hear from members on all of these matters. And as the Honourable Member for Motherwell and Wishaw said, the spirit and context of the debate is extremely important. I think the Honourable Lady opposite, we've always had a very constructive and positive relationship, and I look forward to working with her on her challenges to us and all of her asks across government and note all of these. And I, as members might note, I have got a lot here. Whether I can get to all of it, we'll see. But I'll hope to share the government's ambition for this society where disabled people and those with health conditions can fulfil their potential when it comes to employment, and that they have the fair right and access that we all want. My mum lived with osteoporosis and rheumatoid arthritis. She worked with disabled adults. My dad lived with a head injury for over 25 years under the Court of Protection, and I'm a celiac. So despite my height of my role, which I want to reassure those in the gallery and those listening, my convening power is no less. And my commitment is no less, but I understand the ask from the lady opposite and her advocation for my promotion, which one could ask for nothing else. The reason for the joint work between the Department of Work and Pensions and the Department for Health and the Work and Health Directorate was set up in 2015 to recognise these extremely strong links between work and health and the importance of good work, which I think has been very much highlighted today. And also, I would like to pay tribute rather to those with doing the Better Bones campaign, and for the Right Honourable Member for Hayes and Harlington, assure him as the Minister for HSE for a number of years predominantly, I've paid close attention to this, and I hope that they will be coming to Parliament shortly to give us all an update on some of the work that they're doing. It sits with my noble lord in the other place now, but I'll be working very strongly with him. And absolutely I agree with my honourable friend from Gedling and those who've also made this point around prevention, tackling stigma and really keenly engaging with those that understand on this matter. So supporting and empowering those with MSK conditions is very important to me, and I hope I've outlined why. And both in this new role and in my capacity as a local MP, I in fact invited my predecessor, the Honourable Member for Corby, and I do pay tribute to his work and his commitment on this subject, to visit Vim, and it gives me an opportunity to mention Tom and all his team, all his patients, and what I've seen, the work that they do in terms of a specialist neurological rehab centre and MSK therapy service. And we both agreed it's incredibly inspiring to see how innovative technologies can make healthcare more accessible, enjoyable and transformative, and this is a particular gym which helps with both rehab and also gives an opportunity to make exercise and things that many of us take for granted accessible. And we talked about the pools, and I'll be coming on to that later. Now, I'm looking forward to meeting Versus Arthritis later this month. I met with them in party conference, and I would like to, like others, extend my thanks to the third sector organisations for the important work and knowledge that they impart to us in Westminster to raise awareness and to support people living with MSK conditions, helping them fulfil their potential in the workplace. And as we heard from my honourable friend from Gedling, it's about a change of mindset. Work is so much more than a pay packet. It increases your well-being, it increases your network, your confidence. And at times when your health is perhaps failing or fluctuating, it's nothing more important than having confidence, network and support. And that very much comes from work. Yes, I'm very happy to give way.
On that point of mindset, would she look at perhaps requiring employers to inform new employees about access to work when they start, to make it quite a routine thing so that people know about it, so that they can have an upfront conversation about all areas of their health, but particularly MSK health? Because I think from the point of view of the person who is suffering, it can be extremely difficult to raise an issue that they know is going to cause bother for their manager, maybe cost them money and so forth.
I thank the Honourable Lady for that point, and in fact preparing for this debate and understanding further, this is something that we discussed, I was interested in. I have not far away and many people working in my own constituency in Gatwick, in fact some of those working on passenger assist to get people on and off planes, so being able to do that confidently and comfortably and talking to employees is really important. And when your health changes, normally it's often a bolt from the blue, and how do you manage with that with your employer? And that's something I'm very focused on, and that covers around access to work and disability confident. I'll come on to disability confident, but we need to move this from a nice thing on a website to a reality for those people working in whatever sector and working with all employees. And in fact, that's an approach that we have taken when it comes to menopause and the debilitating impact that that can have for women at all ages, and the impact it has on their workplace. So I think all of this in the round is very important when it comes to staying in work and thriving in work, because that is ultimately we want for everybody. So for context, around a third of the UK population, over 20 million people, live with an MSK condition. And as we say, we want people not leaving employment as being the option that they see and feel is the only option. And the government absolutely recognises that good work is generally good for health. And the MSK interventions improving workforce participation are absolutely key, as we heard from my honourable friend, in terms of the health package, and the honourable lady offers it in terms of the spring budget in 2023 of around 400 million. So in terms of ask for the government and what are we doing, so let's just go through some of this. We are introducing those employment advisors within MSK services to support people with conditions to thrive in work, to help them have those conversations, and above all to assist with engaging with employers. We're developing and scaling up those MSK hubs in the community, which, building on existing local practice, will offer people the MSK access to physical activities, interventions, as we heard, in leisure centre or community settings, and we'll explore how to embed a vocational advice too. And we will be making the most of digital health technologies, supporting with people with MSK conditions to better manage those symptoms and remain in work. And that will include digital therapeutics as well. And the reality is we're all living longer, and long-term sickness is often a common reason for economic inactivity amongst the working age population. So the government rightly has an ambitious programme to support disabled people, those with health conditions, including MSK, to start, stay and succeed in work. And this is a variety of interventions, as we heard today, from disability confident to the access to work grants, to the work in health programme, to digital information service for employers on this, and employers knowing how to manage and have those conversations on equally with employees really will make the difference. And of course our own disability employment advisors at DWP, and I will be directly engaging with all of those groups and stakeholders to make sure this works, putting myself, as I always do, in the place of our claimants and those people that need help. And now, as well as this, yes, of course.
On the issue of helping people to engage in activities that will improve their health, the business of the closure of swimming pools is a really serious one. So if you take the example of my own constituency on the Woodchurch estate, we've lost the swimming pool. I met with users there. We were fighting against the closure. And they were very clear to me that they were using it to deal with two issues. One was mental health issues and the other was arthritis. That particular estate has a higher level than average of deprivation, higher level of disability and more older people on the estate. For them, it's been catastrophic, the closures. So will she, I recognise it's not her department, but will she talk with ministerial colleagues that look again at the provision of sport and leisure facilities, particularly in relation to areas of deprivation, so that those people can improve their own health?
Yes, I thank the Honourable Lady for reiterating her point for her constituents, and these hubs in the community will deliver that both physical activity and those interventions, and I do understand her point. In regard to the pools, I know support from DCMS has come to councils in regard to this, and I think it's very specific what she says, and I will take that away in terms of the cross-government work that I'm doing. But I think as well, it's a lesson for many of our local authorities to think very carefully about decisions they're making and how it affects the whole of their communities. And it's vital that, you know, people understand the wider impact, that perhaps it might be more than just losing swimming lessons, and that's not easy in itself. So I think she's put that rightly on the record for her constituents. Employment advice and NHS talking therapies will be included in our interventions, and individual placement and support in primary care, and increasing work coach time in job centres. And the Honourable Lady from the SNP spoke about making sure that we listen to people, engage with people and do it in the right way. And I wholeheartedly agree with this individual approach. All these investments are part of a much wider agenda to tackle inactivity due to long-term sickness. And we also announced our Back to Work plan in autumn at the statement. And this includes doubling the number of universal support employment programme places, increasing occupational health take-up amongst business, which I think is absolutely key, and how we do this around SMEs is very key as well. Testing new ways of providing individuals receiving a fit note with timely access to that key support, and supporting people with health-related barriers to work with the Work Well 15 pilot areas that we're currently working on at the moment. Now, Work Well is Dame Dianage currently accepting applications for funding from local areas across England, with pilot areas due to be announced in April and more details in the autumn. And I'll be working with my honourable friend, the Employment Minister, on this matter, of course.
Vicky Foxcroft. Thank the Minister for giving way, and she's just pointed to a number of pilots that the government are doing, and I know there's other further pilots. And I just wonder, in my contribution, I asked whether or not the government would be transparent in terms of pilots and publish that data. And I wonder whether or not she might want to put it on the record this morning, whether or not the government would be willing to do that.
I thank the Honourable Lady for that ask, and this is still being worked out, and as we know more, and I'm conscious it was one of my predecessors in DWP who warned about more pilots than EasyJet, but so making sure that they actually do work and that they are right. So once we have more details, I'm sure we'll be in a position to share more with her. So I'll come back to her on that matter because it's early in my tenure and I want to get to grips with this, and when I'm in a position to share, of course I will do. Now, we talked about poor MSK health impact on individuals and employers, and we know that over 20% of employees and self-employed have an MSK condition, and this is a leading cause of working days being lost through sickness and absence, accounting over 23 million lost working days. And my honourable friend from Gedling spelt this out very strongly. So tackling these disparities and managing these conditions are absolutely key. And also when it comes to women, older population and certain ethnic groups, understanding the prevalence and the impact and more on prevention is absolutely key in terms of managing and supporting people with this. And a predominant symptom, of course, is pain, which limits people's mobility and dexterity, living with with pain is awful, and managing that is incredibly stark, and it's very difficult for people to fully participate in society. So we need to make sure that people have a healthier both home and working life. And osteoporosis and fragility in terms of fractures disproportionately affect, we know, women, and the government's women's health strategy is key in terms of understanding specific actions to improve women's experiences and outcomes on osteoporosis. And I look forward to meeting Dame Leslie in terms of our women's health ambassador on this matter as soon as our diaries allow. I know she's very focused on this, and we will raise the profile on those issues. I've been very engaged with her in regard to my work on menopause and employment action, and I'll continue to do that. I've talked about supporting employers in the workplaces as key enablers to retain disabled people with health conditions to remain in work. Let me cover briefly prevention. Adults in employment spend a large proportion of their time in work, and our jobs and workplaces and how we are engaged with have a massive impact on our health. And so therefore, in 2022, the government and the Society of Occupational Medicine published the MSK Health Toolkit for Employers and further education institutions, which encourages employers to support adolescents and young adults also with MSK conditions. We've also produced the MSK Toolkit for Employers, which has been developed in partnership with business in the community and provides practical information for employers of all sizes, which I think is key in terms of addressing MSK conditions in the workplace for all people of working age population. We need to look at the adjustments and support there. And I thank, in my constituency, Thriver, a brilliant group of people which delivers around £45 million of the Access to Work scheme. And they have given me some very stark insight on what they feel I should be doing. And I fed that into my predecessor, which is now me. And we know that the grant scheme plays a key role in enabling people. And the point on literacy and digital skills has been noted. I also note that the chairman is looking at me, so I will look to conclude, if I may. There is a few matters that I may want to write directly to members on, given time, but what I think we've all agreed this morning is that poor MSK health has a significant impact on people, and I'm very clear, whether it's delays to access to work, which is improving and we've been forensic on, the people are people queuing up who need support, and we need to give that support both from employers, from government, the wider economy and the NHS, and we will continue to focus on good jobs to help everybody thrive with fulfilling lives, with the benefit of health and well-being behind them, the best route out of poverty and the best route out to support their families. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Margaret Greenwood to wind up.
Thank you very much.